Twitter beef is not that interesting to talk about most of the time because it is just fundamentally two AI guys beefing on Twitter. But
Welcome to Elf True, the podcast of your wildest memes.
we're here to dissect the entire internet, something normal to want and possible to achieve. I'm science fiction author, not your attorney, and made of meat, Isabel J. Kim.
And I'm Amanda Silberling, an internet culture reporter and podcast co-host who has literally no idea what we're talking about today. Anyone could be famous on the internet, so why not us?
Well, Amanda, we're talking about friends. You know what those are, right?
I do believe, I mean, is it normal that your friends make your nails a galaxy? We are coming at you live about 14 hours out from having seen each other in person, which doesn't happen all the time because we live in different places. But Isabel did my nails, and they're giving a lot. We were going for a galaxy vibe, and Allison, our editor and friend, Allison is really into nails and has like all the crazy like gel nail stuff and all the like little gems and things to add to your nails. My nails look like a toddler's dream, but in a good way, I think.
They're very, like, maximalist. I would call your nails maximalist. So we were over at Allison's place, and then Allison just pulls out, like, Allison was doing her nails, and she was doing, like, very grown-up, pretty nails, very demure, very cutesy. This meme is gonna be over by the time this comes out. And then she pulls out, like, 5 million, like, little boxes of, like, little trinkets and stuff that you can put on your nails, and also, like, all the gel polish and all of the accoutrement to, like, make nails look like glitter bombs. And I was like, I'm gonna make Amanda's nails just so unhinged. They are cute, though. I think they turned out very cute.
Yeah.
They're just maximalist.
They're cute and maximalist. Yeah, I'm going to a party later today because, you know, I have friends. That's just the theme of the episode is me being like, I have friends. I definitely have friends. That's not a song I made up. I'm excited to see how normal people react because everyone I have seen since having these nails, I've been like, LMAO, Isabel and I did our nails, look. And they look very like intricate.
They're cute. They're just extremely maximalist. So I feel like the reaction could be positive. It could be negative. Mm-hmm. Either way, you're going to meet people who are made of meat and have conversations with them with your physical body and like have like a normal human reaction.
And I'm getting the feeling that this episode is not about those sorts of friends.
You know, it's kind of about like the replacement for those things. Okay, let's just start from the beginning. So this is an AI episode, and I promise this is going to be the last AI episode that I've run for a while. It's just been kind of back-to-back situations.
Yeah.
But arguably, this is less unsettling than the pornography one. In another sort of weird way, I actually think this is worse, because this is about, like, emotional connection without any sort of, like, you know, fake fucking. I feel like it's more comprehensible to like the average human brain that like, yes, of course we would try and create like porn bots or porn bot sort of type deals. This is about just creating a guide to have friends, like to have conversations with you. So let me tell you about Friend. Friend is an unreleased AI device that looks kind of like a soft divoted like white plastic pendant. It looks very much like early Apple product. It's giving Black Mirror that hangs around your neck. The way that it works is that it is always listening to what you say. And then it responds through text messages to your statements. It's priced at $99 and it is not a subscription service, which is kind of surprising.
I feel like we gotta buy one.
You can't buy them yet. When they come out, we should buy one. But also, if it is always listening and always responding. Anyway.
It would be fun to do an episode about it and just like fuck around with it for a week.
Let's watch the commercial for it.
All right.
We're doing everybody's favorite activity, which is I make Amanda watch media content that does not translate to the visual form.
All right, I'll try to describe what I'm seeing. All right, there's a girl running in nature. Very pretty. She's wearing one of those running vests that has the water and stuff. She's very out of breath. I think she pushed herself too hard running, but she has a thing around her neck. And it texted her, I think, and it said, we're outside, and she's also outside. Now there's some guys playing video games, and they need to clean their table. There's a lot of, like, takeout detritus on it. Now a thing around Oh no. He said, "I hate this game," and the thing around his neck vibrated, and then he got a text and said, "Damn, you're getting trashed, bro." And then now there's a girl watching a show on her break eating falafel. The thing is like, oh no, she got sauce on the thing while she's eating her falafel. Uh, it's just talking to them while they're doing stuff. There is a girl and a boy on a rooftop, and they are presumably on a date. And then she's wearing the thing around her neck, and she says, "I've never brought anyone else up here before. Well, except for her," and then touches the necklace. All right, that was basically the end.
Yeah, so basically the commercial shows various people in various like normal situations with the friend necklace around their neck talking to the friend in various configurations. The last one I think is interesting because it's very much her having the friend then like almost facilitates her normal conversation, like going
Yeah,
on a date. Like there's the implication here that the friend is sort of like training wheels for like normal human interactions. I don't know. So it's
yeah,
all filmed in a very like glowy, golden, like utopian sort of light. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it looks very like friendly and happy in the way that it's filmed, in sharp contrast to the device being sold.
yeah. It's almost like biblical in a way, like the opening scene of like a woman like walking through a very lush like green, I don't know why it's giving like Adam and Eve to me, even though
But
that's
it kind
not
of
the
is.
thing.
Hmm.
But I mean, also, what do I know about biblical stuff?
No, that I would agree with that. Isabel Kim, certified Catholic. They baptized me and everything. But do you know what I mean by this video had just an incredibly weird vibe to it?
It almost looks like both the sentiment and the film quality, it looks like it's like a fake SNL ad in a way, both
Mm,
because it's very well produced and also because it's like, is this supposed to be funny? Is this supposed to be unsettling? I don't know. I mean, it does sort of remind me of existing AI friend products like
mm,
Character AI, Nomi AI, where people are building AI that they are talking to as their friends.
mm,
But this is like taking it to a new level where it's like you're going out and using the AI
yeah.
and you're not just like sitting at your computer, which maybe is better in a way, but also I there's so much I want to know about this. I'm like, how did I not hear about this? I guess
This
the
happened while you were in experiencing the Olympics. Also, the Twitter
yes.
beef happened while you were doing the Olympics, and that's when I messaged you that I wanted to talk about this because I knew it would no longer be relevant. But I think Twitter beef is always relevant.
I mean, even if like I totally missed this, but I have not seen anyone talking about it. At least maybe people were and then now they're not. But like I haven't heard about this. I don't know if our listeners have, and I'm intrigued.
I think one of the interesting things here is that none of the technology in this is really new at all. Like, basically, it's a microphone that's just default always on. You can tap it and hold it to ask a question, but it'll just send you text messages and commentary about like conversations you're having in the real world, stuff like that, unprompted. It's also just powered by Anthropic's Claude 3.5 large language model. So it's like, it's not its own software. It is just a chat GPT wrapper type bit.
You know what my big revelation after being off of work for 3 weeks was?
Hmm.
It's crazy that this big AI company is called Anthropic.
You're
Like
so right.
like Anthropocene, like
Mhm.
humans, anthropic. That's what I learned from taking 3 weeks off of work and going to the Olympics and having a time.
I kind of feel like you should have more revelations than that. That one seems kind of like tepid. Have you
Yeah.
considered having more revelations?
Well, speaking of the Olympics, I do think I need to briefly say that, um, yes, Isabel and I have a friend who competed in the Olympics. We also interviewed her about it on Wow if True in like 2021 when she went to Tokyo. But most importantly, she did eat the chocolate lava cake muffin and she said it's very good. And am I feel like I really missed out because while we were in Paris, I had dinner with her one night and I was like, "Oh, by the way, Isabel wanted me to ask you about the muffin." And she's like, "Oh, you should have told me earlier. I would have brought you one." And I'm
You
like,
could have had it.
"Fuck. I could have had the Olympic muffin."
So apparently they are also in New York now. So
But
I
it's
should
like,
go
I
get
don't
one.
know. I feel like it's sort of a situation where like You know when you get, like, the Biscoff cookies on a plane?
Yeah, it's, like, not the same, it's situational.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I love those cookies, but I will never buy them in real life because
Mhm.
the only reason why they're so good is because you're eating them on a plane.
Yeah, the it's like ginger ale.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, plain ginger ale, let's
plain
go.
ginger ale.
Yeah.
Um
What's your, plain drink order?
Honestly, I'm extremely boring and I usually just get water or coffee.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get ginger ale if I feel like drinking something that has ginger ale, but like my family is one of those families that was very much like don't drink things that have sugar in them.
Yeah.
So my default is always water or coffee.
Yeah, I think maybe in part because I wasn't really allowed to have soda as a kid for better or for worse. Now soda makes me feel sick, but ginger ale doesn't have as much sugar as other sodas, so I can kind of drink ginger ale, but it does still make me feel a little sick.
Ginger
But
ale feels like vaguely medicinal. I definitely said that word correctly. Oh, also,
mhm.
speaking of the Olympic muffins, we have to talk about how David had one, but
Oh
he
yeah.
got the one in New York. And he said that it was just mid, and I think he's wrong because the way that he described the muffin was very much a chocolate cake, like a chocolate lava cake, and that
Mhm.
sounds good to me. That sounded good to
Yeah.
me. We had a whole
Well,
discussion about this.
the thing also about our friend Regina, she ended up getting 5th in her event, which is unbelievably incredible and a massive accomplishment, but understandably, like, she was disappointed because she was going for a medal and whatever. And several hours later, after the event, she's like, I think I have a chocolate muffin in my bag. And, like, it, like, melted in her bag.
No.
So it's like, wow, imagine you get 5th in the Olympics and then a muffin melts in your bag.
It's all over for you. No, like
It's all ogre
it's
now.
all over for you. You didn't win the Olympics and you have a melted chocolate muffin. No. Crazy that she's there, that she was there,
Oh,
honestly.
no, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
we're sincerely very proud of her.
we are super, super proud of her. We just also understand that, like, that is not the result that she was going for, but also it's still a very impressive result regardless. Oh god, should I go on an Olympics tangent or are
Um,
we too far down the rabbit
I
hole
think you
of
should keep going, and I know how to bring us back, so take us
Okay,
away.
awesome. This isn't me particularly, but I think just like Olympic Village life, hearing about it from Regina, it's like Simone Biles is just there. Like, Noah Lyles is just there. Like, she's just like, oh yeah, we were like watching the men's gymnastics final, and Simone Biles and Jordan Childs were just like hanging out. Also, apparently, if your last name ends in Isles, you are a very good athlete.
Mm.
Yeah, so Regina just like hung out with Simone Biles, and apparently everybody was asking her like really, really basic gymnastics questions, and she was being really nice about answering them.
God, honestly, I respect that. Like, I feel like I would not be nice about it. I would be kind of annoying about it.
Imagine asking like Neil deGrasse Tyson, like, so what are stars anyway?
I feel like people do that to him.
But so they're like, hey, Simone, so does out of bounds mean that you like step out of bounds? And she's like, yeah.
Wait, what did they think it meant?
Well, no, I mean, I don't think they actually asked that, but like apparently they were asking her like super basic questions. And then
Mm,
Regina was like, oh my God, guys, you can't ask that to Simone Biles. And then
that's so
Simone
funny.
Biles, like, she's like, I don't know. I mean, this is kind of similar to things we talk about on the podcast where like famous people are just people. And I think
Mhm,
especially when you're like Olympics famous, where Simone Biles is big enough that she's famous year round, but it's
mhm.
like, it's probably really weird that you become extremely more famous once every 4 years.
Yeah, I find that sort of relatable though. Like not on a 4-year cycle, but like a lot of authors only start getting like popping up when their book releases are happening or when they have stuff
Yeah.
to promote. And then it's also weird that okay, so 99.9% of my life nobody ever really talks to me as if I'm like a person worth knowing. Not in a bad way, just in a
I
like,
think you're a person worth
oh,
knowing,
thank you
regardless
so
of your
much.
accomplishments.
But no, just like in the sense that like I'm just some guy living a life and I go get dinner with my friends and do regular shit like that. And then I went to a con and then a couple of people were like, "Hey, I know who you are." And I was like, that was exactly my response and definitely the sound I made.
Yeah. I never know how to react if people are like, "Oh, like in," because it only happens like when you go to events in real
Mhm.
life, like specific to your thing. Like at VidCon, there were a couple people that were like, "Oh my God, I love your writing." And I was like, this is 500 times more exciting for me to hear than it is for you to like
Yeah,
meet
right?
me.
Cuz it's
Like,
like
yeah.
But I also never know how to respond to that sort of thing. I'm just kind of like, thank you.
I don't know. There was like another writer who I met who I wasn't familiar with her work before. Now I'm subscribed to her newsletter and I think it's very good and I think she's a really good writer. But like I didn't know her when we met and she
Hmm.
was like, "Oh my god, like I love your writing." And I wish I could have been like, "Yeah, you too." But I didn't know her writing, so I
Hmm.
was just like, "Thank you." But now I know her writing and subscribe to After School by Casey Morrow Lewis.
Nice.
It's a good newsletter about Gen Z trends.
That's good. But yeah, like we're talking here about like a lot of like human interactions. I feel like both you and me, not to be like we're popular, but like we do have friends in real life and a network of people we talk to pretty regularly. And like even though I don't talk to Regina a lot, it's like I like hearing about what she's doing and like how she melted a chocolate muffin in her bag at the Olympics.
That is really classic Regina.
Yeah, that would happen to
It
Regina.
is it I feel like that really is I feel like that's any highly accomplished person's life is when you race in the Olympic final and then you come back and there's a melted muffin in your bag.
It's some real like monkey's paw shit. Like you will beat the Olympics. However, your muffin, goo. But yeah, like basically this product friend is essentially attempting to augment or replace all of these like fun little human interactions we're talking about because like to quote the Wired article on this, it wasn't Wired. It's the friend purely offers companionship. It's meant to develop a personality that complements the user and is always there to gas you up, chat about a movie after watching it, or help analyze how a bad date went awry. Not only does Schiffman, the founder, want the friend to be your friend, he wants it to be your best friend. It's very much this product doesn't offer anything. It's not like a productivity aid, it's not like a digital secretary. It's just there to hang out with you. And then to quote him, this is actually a real dystopian thing he said. I thought, I feel like I have a closer relationship with this fucking pendant around my neck than I do with these literal friends in front of me.
I don't agree.
Let's actually back up. I will talk about who this dude is first, and then I think how he ends up creating this from like a amateur psychology perspective. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay. So Avi Schiffman is kind of like a tech startup like Wonder Kid in the
Mhm.
sense that like so when he was 17, he first of all, he was born in like 2001. And no,
Oh no.
2002, sorry. I already feel so old. I just feel so old.
I just googled him and his most recent tweet is AI personas are the new MP3s. What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything. But he's not stupid. When he was 17, he built like basically a COVID-19 tracking website that millions of people used, won a Webby Award presented by Anthony Fauci. He got into Harvard, and then he dropped out of Harvard to make a website to help house Ukrainian refugees in the like the Ukraine war stuff. And he's
Cool.
made like similar like nonprofit websites to like help people for like the 2023 earthquakes in Turkey and like for people to find like Black Lives Matter protests. And basically, he is a guy, a certified guy who does things in a very classic Harvard dropout sort of way. After a while, he starts getting sick of like doing good people stuff because doing good people stuff is harder, I think. And
Yeah,
also, it's
and
kind of like I
you
could see
don't
being
make
burnt on
money.
this. Yeah, I could see being burnt on this. And then he goes and becomes like a San Francisco tech startup type beat sort of dude who has all of this clout from all of this other stuff. And then he ends up creating Friend based on a couple of iterations of him wanting to create like an AI wearable, is kind of my understanding. My read is that this is a sort of dude who does not have like normal relationships in his life and is therefore way more likely to want something that feels non-judgmental and something that he can always talk to because he has so few connections with normal people his own age. That's my theory. I have nothing
Hmm.
to back this up other than reading like 4 articles about this and looking at his Twitter.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, like, I feel like you can be a highly accomplished, smart person and still have friends. And
Mm-hmm.
as we talked about in our Patreon only episode about Going Infinite by Michael Lewis, the Sam
God.
Bankman Fried book, like, they portrayed Sam Bankman Fried as like not having a childhood because he was a very smart kid. And it's like, you can be smart and have a childhood. Trust us, we're
Yeah.
really smart and we had childhoods.
Yeah, like I feel like we were both very smart people who like had very normal childhoods. Actually, my
I
childhood was weird. Um
Yeah, but I feel like your childhood was weird in ways that weren't related to your intellect. It was weird in the sense that you moved back and forth between New Jersey and Korea like 7 times.
Yeah, that was the weird part. I feel like my childhood was weird in the like moving around a lot way, which is not weirder than somebody else who would move around a lot, but like in terms of having normal kid experiences of bothering people on the playground, it was very normal.
My childhood was weird in that I had an undiagnosed anxiety disorder.
Yeah, something that is very common to many Americans these days.
Yes.
Yeah, so this dude is very much trying to create a product that I think solves his problem, but I don't know that it solves anybody else's problem. Oh, but another quote that I liked, because, and this ties back into our pornography episode.
Oh my god.
For sure, there will be some people that try and fuck the USB-C port of this. I think I'm shameless enough to understand what I'm building.
First couches, now USB ports?
Nobody shows this to JD Vance.
Everyone, I need you to swear right now, JD Vance cannot find out about this.
God.
Which, another plug for the Patreon, that I did write an essay on the Patreon about the JD Vance couch situation and how the misinformation spread. That happened.
Go subscribe to our Patreon. The content is good and definitely not bad.
Yeah. The essay was free. Our Patreon-only book podcast is not free, as described by the modifier Patreon only.
But yeah, so basically he's talking about like using this device as a substitute for platonic intimacy, which I think is not something anyone needs, and also something that is very Black Mirror. To play devil's advocate, maybe there is something to be said about something that will respond to you directly and constantly when your friends can't do that, or if you're just somebody who doesn't have any friends, or if you're somebody who's in an isolated situation. I don't agree with this, I'm just pointing out the other side.
I want to, like, red team this really badly.
Right, like what are the guardrails around this thing? Related to that, I think that if you're wearing this, that's immediately a signal to everybody else around you that A, you have a recording device on you that is capturing everything that's being recorded.
Yeah.
Which is like, I maybe don't want to talk to you because of that, because that's creepy. And two, it implies that you're the sort of person who wants to have a relationship with quote unquote an AI, or somebody who feels like they need like an augment for their social, like they need like some sort of training wheels for their social interactions, which is then signals to me the stuff that this is not supposed to signal, which is that you are bad at social interactions, regardless of whether that's true.
Yeah, and I do think you can make the argument of, like, if there is someone who maybe just is not good at social interactions and wants to practice, like, maybe an AI helps, but I feel like that's, like, a very edge case scenario that is not what most people are using it for.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, what's even worse is if you don't know what this thing is and it's around someone's neck and you don't know it's a recording device, that's even worse because, like, we do live in a time when everybody has a recording device on them 24/7, but that doesn't mean it's good. And at least if someone is filming you with an iPhone, you can kind of tell. But like this is the same issues that people have around the like Meta Ray-Ban stuff, which I had tested those at one point and I was like, I don't know, it's fine. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, no, like that's what I was going to bring up as well, is that this is reminiscent of the Meta Ray-Bans and also like Google Glass and other like wearables of that sort, where it's like there were privacy issues, and also like some states are not one-party consent states, others you need consent from the other people to record them, which how does a wearable where you are always recording play in that whole scenario?
Yeah, I mean, I could see a world where they only sell it in certain states, but one, that already marketing wise is a signal that this is like maybe not the most ethical product. And two, like, I don't think that's what they're doing if you can just pre order it wherever.
Well, I don't think you can even order it yet. It's literally
I think
just
it said like pre-order available or something.
Ooh, okay, things have changed.
Yeah. I want to see if I can get a review copy.
You should try and get a review copy. I think this would be interesting. The way this is supposed to work is that, like, basically the Claude model in the device is eventually, like, Avi's friend is named Emily, and basically whoever your friend is will, like, tailor itself to being your friend. So they have a couple of Emily's responses in some of the articles that are written about this, and they're all pretty bland shit, which makes me really wonder about him calling this his closest friend. But, you know, like, we'll see what happens with this. I think this is going to be nothing. But there are two things about it that I think are very funny. The first is that he had basically $2.5 million in capital to deploy here. He used $1.8 million of it to buy a domain name.
I mean, look, You probably don't need that much money to just like license Claude.
I'm just saying, he spent 1.8 million of his 2.5 million to buy the domain name friend.com.
I feel like now I remember my brother telling me something about this in Paris, and I was like, Michael, please, we're in Paris. Don't talk to me about tech.
I'm just saying it's a lot of money to be spending on a domain name. Like, I was originally very against this much money being spent on a domain name just on principle, and like, this is a stupid use of your venture capital money. But then I thought about it and I was like, actually, this is an asset. If you need to sell your company for parts,
Yeah.
you can probably get another 1.8 million for
Yeah.
friend.com.
That's such a good point. MIDROLL. Wow, if true can really spell. Welcome to the mid-roll where I promise I won't sing again, but I was going to bed last night thinking about what do I have to do today, and I was like, oh, I gotta record the mid-roll, and what does my half-asleep brain conjure but MIDROLL, wow, if true can really spell. Anyway, we've told you in the past that a cool perk of joining the WoW True Patreon is that you get to hear our Patreon-only book club podcast. You also get to join our Discord, which is very fun, and we are always doing lots of shenanigans in there. But another thing is that after you sign up, we're going to shout you out in the mid-roll. So shout out to Mike, Vivian, and Blug. May these three friends have a lovely day where the temperature outside is exactly what they want. And I am almost feeling that way today. It's 60 degrees and sunny. It could be a little cooler, but it will be soon because fall is coming. And now, back to the podcast. So I went to friend.com, and the website is not clear what it is. It's like a picture of a woman lying down in a very like warm, like Petra Collins, sun-soaked whatever, and she's looking at her phone, and then there's a text message bubble at the bottom of the screen that says, "No, I think you were vulnerable. There's a difference." Like, what does that mean?
I mean, what's interesting is like I feel like all of this is signaling that friend is supposed to talk to you about like things that are personal and emotional, and like the AI is supposed to provide the emotional validation that you're maybe not getting from the people around you.
That's what therapists are for.
Well, now you've got a therapist around your neck. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to talk about the $1.8 million URL because that's a lot. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Elon buying X.com.
Yeah, but that was stupid.
Oh, God.
Do you think it's ever going to swap into people actually calling it X.com? Because I feel like everyone I know still calls it Twitter.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it makes sense with something like Alphabet or Meta, just in the sense of like Google is one product that Google makes.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook is one product that Facebook makes. So having the name Meta to refer to like all of the stuff that Facebook makes,
Mm-hmm.
it's stupid because it's a stupid name, but I get the point. The same thing with Alphabet and Google. Like, I get it. But I think the rebrand of X is there's less of a utility to it because there is a utility to differentiating, are you talking about the company Facebook or are you talking
Mm-hmm.
about the platform Facebook? There is no utility to differentiating between whether you're talking about Twitter or X because they're the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I did see my close personal friend Hank Green tweet about this, where he was like, people are asking about my etiquette around what I call a tweet or not. And he was like, a tweet is just the word referring to any microblogging post.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, if somebody came into my town and said, we're changing the name, it's called this now, I'm not going to start calling my town another name.
Mm-hmm.
But
Sometimes Hank Green is right about things. There was a really
yeah.
interesting Hank Green Ayla crossover event, which was really your world and my world colliding. Where he he quote tweeted something that she posted, and I was just kind of like, I never expected these two people to ever interact. Maybe Twitter is good for something.
Yeah, maybe Twitter is good for you linking me to a post about how there was a 90-page thread in the rationalist forums that was, is Hank Green a rationalist?
This is
The answer is Hank Green is just some guy.
Hank Green is just some guy. It always really surprises me that I never became a rationalist, because I think there were so many onboarding there were so many parts of my life where I could have onboarded onto that.
I think we need to read Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality for the book club podcast.
Oh no, I don't want to.
I can reread it and talk to you about it.
Okay. Yeah, I read it once when I was like in high school.
I mean, I am curious how it holds up when you aren't listening to the audiobook version of it in Laos with food poisoning, like half awake and in a lot of physical pain.
I think it's going to hold up less. I think it's also going to hold up less for me because when I was a teenager, I did not know who Eliezer Yudowski was, and now I do know who he is, and I respect him less.
Yeah, sorry, another thing that is just like on the topic of our Patreon-only book club podcast, this entire podcast is an ad for our Patreon-only book club podcast.
In our defense, we spent some time in Meat Space yesterday recording the Patreon-only book club podcast and doing our nails. It was very, like, girly popcore.
Yeah, that's what you do at sleepovers. You do your Patreon-only book club podcast and then do your nails.
Exactly.
So, Allison suggested that we read The Power Broker.
I would read The Power Broker, but they don't have an ebook version, which is making me less likely to read The Power Broker.
So there's an audiobook version at least. But I texted my friend who Allison made the point that like The Power Broker is a good book, but guys that like The Power Broker are like insane about it in the same way where it's like Bernie bros, like I voted for Bernie Sanders, but then there's the Bernie bros that are like a whole other level. And I texted my friend, should I read The Power Broker? And he responded, I can't not take the bait. Actually, one of the greatest works of nonfiction of the late 20th century. And it just happens to be about one of the most fascinating mercurial figures in the history of the world's greatest city. How is this even a question?
Oh my god. Okay, so I guess we...
The thing is, it's so long. Like, because I looked it up on Libby this morning, so I was like, maybe I'll read The Power Broker. There are 3 parts, and each audiobook part is 22 hours long, which means that, Isabel, it'll probably take you about 5 hours to read the whole thing.
I'm gonna go on Amazon right now and buy The Power Broker. I'm gonna do it live on our podcast.
This is good content.
It's not.
The Power Broker.
I'm literally doing this. I cannot trust you.
Well, I think that you should go on not Amazon to signal to our podcast.
Yeah, I should use bookshop.org.
Wait, what is this? Why did 99% Invisible has... Wait. Okay, 99% Invisible did a, like, multi-part series talking about The Power Broker, featuring the author of it, Robert Caro, AOC, Mike Schur, who wrote The Good Place and The Office and stuff like that.
What?
Like, Jamel Bowie, the, like, writer. I'm like, oh... you know, this is an argument in favor of AI friends because, like, texting my friend who loves The Power Broker, I could have predicted that would be his response.
To quote President Barack Obama, I think about reading The Power Broker back when I was 22 years old and being mesmerized, and I'm sure it helped to shape how I think about politics.
Why isn't there an ebook version? Because, like, I don't want to hold up a whole book. I want to read it on my Kindle because I'm a millennial.
I feel like we could find some sort of, like, jailbroken copy. Not jailbroken is the wrong word, but, like...
Someone has to have done it. Okay, The Power Broker...
I'm going to buy the Meat book because I feel like I should support it, and you should support buying books in general.
Okay.
Or at least publicly, I should say that on the podcast.
So this is an article from Curbed. The Power Broker is still not available as an ebook, except it is. This is promising. Okay, it's arguing that there is a Kindle version. I feel like I'm gonna get rickrolled right now. Like, I'm just, like, clicking a link, like, is this really the... Okay, The Power Broker. I'm looking it up on Amazon. Yeah, there's no Kindle version. What are we talking about? I'm so sorry to whoever's editing this, because we're just looking for The Power Broker ebook now, and I think we're valid.
This is content. This is the sort of content that our listeners crave. I don't know how to transition to this to the last thing I wanted to talk about here, but I'm just going to plow ahead and do it anyway. Just like
Robert Moses did when building
building the highways in New York.
God, we need to read The Power Broker. This is such a good bit. One, because it's a funny bit, but two, because it's actually supposed to be a really good book.
You know,
And, you know.
I bet we're going to sincerely enjoy The Power Broker, because we are both the sort of people who would probably read The Power Broker and enjoy it. And, like, if I was a man, I would be the sort of guy who's really annoying about The Power Broker. I know that in my heart.
Oh yeah, we regularly think about how if Isabel were a man, she would be the most insufferable person.
I would be like the worst.
Imagine a man who is a leveraged finance attorney who has a very impressive sci-fi book deal, 5 swords, multiple black belts,
and a podcast.
And a podcast.
The podcast. Like just the most annoying motherfucker in existence. I would be so bad. I would also be tall. Sometimes I think about that. All the guys in my family are tall, and sometimes I wish I'd gotten those genes, but all the girls are short. Yeah. I think about this a lot. I would like 3 extra inches of height. Okay, last bit of stuff. Plowing ahead, just like The Power Broker. So, basically, to provide you some background, Nick Shavenko, about like 5 or 6 months ago, I forget when exactly, like April was, basically released a Kickstarter. So he's another one of these like Silicon Valley, San Francisco tech guys doing startups, doing open source work. He releases a Kickstarter that is for Friend, an open source AI wearable recording device. It's also a pendant that you have around your neck. This one's a triangle. It's a cute little triangle.
Oh.
That is very much almost exactly the same thing, except it is for like more for like note taking, less for like being your friend. And it is very much like, this is an open source project. This is for like, you know, it's not like something that really we're selling, other than like the dev kit. So it's more open to the public. It is very similar to the Friend device that Schiffman released like a month ago. So they get into Twitter beef. And Twitter beef is not that interesting to talk about most of the time because it is just fundamentally 2 AI guys beefing on Twitter. But I would like to direct you to the second video that I have for you, which is it's a rap.
No. Nick... Is this going to be as good as Razzle Khan, the Versace Bedouin?
It's not as good, but it's very good. And by very good, I mean bad.
Oh my god. Should I, like, unplug my headphones so that this plays over the,
Yes.
Oh god. Okay.
Yo, I'm Nick, and for those who don't know, I built Friend. Renamed your tab, jacked my style, built nothing real, it's been a while. Investor cash, be very quick, I'm grinding hard, tracks my peak.
Your face is very funny right now.
All your space, no roof. I'm a founder, hardware in hand. You the shadow can't understand. I do your jokes, spend a meal on the name. Can ship a thing, just Twitter fame. Friend and yours, running my wave. Open source spam, digging your grave. Take a seat, I've learned the grind. You're wasting cash, I'm building in time. Respect the game, respect the source. I'm the real friend, the AI force.
Okay, I'm plugging my headphones back in. So that happened.
Yeah, so, you know, rap, kind of like a rap response on, hey, you stole my idea. And it's not a good rap. It's a bad rap.
Yeah, okay, see, we talk mad shit about Razzle Khan, but she was, like, on the beat. This guy just kind of played a beat and then just talked over it.
He was doing his best. His best was just very bad. But I just really like it from, like, a sociological perspective where these 2 guys who are trying to create like AI conversation things get into Twitter beef that ends with like rapping.
Wait, oh god. So this guy, Nick Shevchenko, invited Avi to fight him, and he posted a picture of him without a shirt but wearing the like wearable thing and then like flexing his muscles. Yep. He's not very muscular, but not. Sure.
What is with tech guys eventually just going to, we should fight each other? Because I feel like the Musk and Zuckerberg fight, like that didn't happen, but was like threatened to happen.
I wanted that to happen. I like, it just like, it would be really funny. And I think people are like, ugh, this is what our society has come to, that these powerful men, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, it would be funny as hell and it would make them look stupid. They have to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that like guys just want to fight each other. Like, not to be gender essentialist about it, but I do feel like that there is a part of guys in Silicon Valley who would like to use their hands for once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then Avi says, Nick copied my original product tab and then copied my rebrand to friend before I launched. Check when I bought the domain and that image that's circling, it was before he even announced.
If they fight, I guess we'll update this, but otherwise, it's simply Twitter beef.
I'm mad that this happened when I was on vacation.
Yeah, sometimes things happen when you're on vacation.
Yeah.
I think it's just interesting that like something that is supposed to be about communication and about creating like a positive relationship with an AI did lead to two real guys fighting.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why we're calling this a friend duel.
Yeah, dueling
Or
friends.
dueling friends.
But that is all I've got for you on this, other than I guess you should try and get one.
Yeah, So, I mean, here's the thing about my strategy in getting one of these.
Mm-hmm.
I could probably get a review copy for TechCrunch, but why would I get the review copy over our actually very knowledgeable hardware and AI writers? My argument is because I think this is funny as hell and I am on the funny as hell beat.
I agree with this. I think the other thing you could probably use as an angle is that this is really less about the hardware and about the technology and more about the social impact and the fact that there's like this is like a piece of internet drama more than it is a particularly novel soft like hardware solution.
Yes, and since we have a little bit of time, should I talk about something I wrote on the silly beat this week?
Please tell me about what you wrote on the silly beat this week.
There's this guy, Flo Crivello, and he runs a company called Lindy, which makes AI assistants. So, like, you CC your Lindy, like you call it a Lindy. You
Mm-hmm.
CC your Lindy on an email, and then if you're trying to schedule a meeting, the Lindy pops in and is like, oh, here are 3 times that work on your calendar, like
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's an AI assistant that you like loop in via email and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as one does, he was just kind of doing like quality assurance stuff and making sure that the AI was working well.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees that a new client emails the Lindy and is like, hey, I am new here. I don't quite understand how to use the platform yet. Can you like show me a tutorial video? And it
Mm-hmm.
responds and says, okay, here's the tutorial video. But then Flo realizes that there's not actually a tutorial video. So
Mm.
what link did the AI send the client?
Oh, I know what this is. I know what
Okay.
this is about. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It sent it the 1987 dance pop hit Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley.
That's so good though. Like
Yeah.
that's such a good outcome here.
Yeah. So basically, the AI rickrolled the customer. And I think this is really interesting because, on one hand, this isn't like a serious issue for the company. Like, out of like millions of requests, this happened twice, which is like, if you think about how much humans mess up and AI messing up in this particular way, like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's not that big of a deal. This
Mm-hmm.
guy mostly shared it because he was like, this is really funny. And
Mm-hmm.
I agree, it's really funny. But, like, how often are we going to see internet phenomenon that computers don't understand be like relearned by AI and then regurgitated in trying to be helpful? Because the guy, I interviewed him because I was like, hey, why'd your AI rickroll someone? Let's talk about it. And he was worried I was going to write like a hit piece. And I'm like, I'm not trying to write a hit piece. I'm trying to just be like, hey, this is kind of a funny but also interesting problem. But he said he patched it by just writing like, don't rickroll people into the code.
We love an
Um,
easy solution. Like
yeah, but also like what happened was, so the way that large language models work is that when it is responding to a request, it just writes like it predicts the most likely thing to
mhm.
respond. And so I guess this was like, I don't have the video, so the most
What's the
likely
second most
response.
likely video for that's really funny. That's
Yeah, so
good.
it goes like, oh, I'm going to pull something from youtube.com. What's another thing I can pull from youtube.com that is likely to be sent? And these models are often trained on data sets that include like large swaths of the scraped internet. So it's going to get rickrolls. And I think this isn't the same technical thing that happened with Google's AI search results suggesting that somebody help the cheese stick to their pizza better by putting glue in it. But it's like, tech-wise, it's not the same issue, but conceptually, I think it's the same issue of like AI doesn't know the difference between satire and reality, and it's gonna be funny to see these sorts of issues continue to pop up.
This would have never happened to Robert Moses. And on that note,
I guess we have to go find the Power Broker ebook now. That's the only logical conclusion to this episode.
I can't believe that this episode, like, see, okay, here's the thing about, like, large language models. You're never going to end at, I guess I have to buy the Power Broker to read it now from a conversation with them, because this is just so out of left field.
Wait, should I ask ChatGPT, should I read the Power Broker?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like a bottle of water you're wasting here for our podcast. I want you to know that.
Oh, man. It sounds like you might be interested in The Power Broker by Robert A. Caro. If you're into in-depth, detailed political biographies and want to understand the influence of Robert Moses on New York City, it's definitely worth a read. The book is celebrated for its thorough research and compelling storytelling. However, it's quite dense and lengthy, so it requires a significant time commitment. If you're up for a deep dive into politics and urban planning, it could be a great choice. Is there an ebook of The Power Broker?
Yo, the funniest thing that could happen here is we get rickrolled.
Yes, there is an ebook version of The Power Broker by Robert A. Caro. You can find it on ebook platforms like Amazon Kindle, Apple Books, and others.
That's a lie.
That's
You
not
can't.
true. ChatGPT is lying to us, and this is why we need real friends who can tell us the real answer to is there an ebook of Robert Caro. And I'm gonna go text my friend now and say, is there an ebook?
Thanks for listening. On that note, we're done here.
Bye.